Hey, everybody. Welcome back to your Dawn of Autonomy podcast. I'm Dawn Zola, your host, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, and publisher at Autonomy Global. We are knee deep in a month that we've dedicated to this theme of OEM leaders. It's sponsored by Sage Tech Avionics, so we thank them. And this particular show, I can't even tell you how excited I am to have these two gentlemen on the show. I have been watching this company for years. I see them every single year at the Energy Drone Robotics Coalition Summit. This is ScoutDI, and these two gents are coming to us from Norway. And so I love the fact that you're finally on the show, and I'm going to have you guys both introduce yourselves. So let's start with Eivind. Tell them a little bit about yourself, your personal background first.
Yeah, my name is Eivind Sivertsen. I am the marketing director of ScoutDI, and I have, let's say, 20 plus years in across not that many industries, but I've done most of my work in the semiconductor industry, actually, in different roles like technical and marketing. Well, ending up in marketing, and as we go and get an age, and so that's me. I have a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, but now I'm the full-time marketing guy of ScoutDI of Norway.
Wow, that's amazing. And I imagine that background really informs the way that you're talking about your company, because here you are. So, okay, let's go to Howard. So, Howard, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Håvard Eilertsen, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of ScoutDI. I also have around 20 years experience from various, I would say, technologies, but also industries. But I would say mostly from fire and gas detection companies. So that's me. Experienced in business development, commercial leadership. So yeah, that's my background.
Well, that's incredible. And at some point, this company, ScoutDI, was born. So I want to talk about that origin story in a minute. But before we do, just I know we've got a video to roll and a picture paints 1,000 words. While we're rolling that video, can one of you tell us a little bit about this company, what it does?
Yeah, should I go, Håvard? Or
Eivind, please go.
ScoutDI is a company that's kind of sprung out of several, technical projects at the university in Trondheim, which is called the Norwegian University of Technology and Science. So it's the largest technology university in the country. Students from all over the world come here because of the expertise that it has in many areas, including robotics and cybernetics. And so there were a few PhD projects that eventually spun out into ScoutDI of making an inspection drone based on a tether power source and a LiDAR sensor for spatial navigation. And that is basically the start of the company. So it very much come from an academic background, you might say, and we still recruit lots of people from the university.
I love that. And so many companies actually spin out of the academic world. But you have an interesting name. We talked about this before we went live. So tell everybody this name, ScoutDI, what it originally was, and kind of how the company has evolved.
Me again? ScoutDI, it was a very natural name to give to a company making drone inspection technology, like a drone that flies around and looks for stuff, looks to find anomalies and so on. So that was the Scout part, and it was an inspection drone. So the original name was Scout Drone Inspection. But eventually we had to kind of let go of the drone inspection part of the name, because we wanted to we just wanted to focus on designing technology and manufacturing the products, while we were getting lots of requests for doing inspections. So we changed it partly because that was not what the company was about. So we changed into mysterious ScoutDI, and we let the audience, try to figure out what the D and the I could be about.
Well, now they know it's drone inspection, so secret is out, and you heard it here first. If you were wondering,
it could be digital intelligence, and it could be drone intelligence, or there are ways to go around.
Well, all of it is good, and it sounds like you were focused maybe initially out of the academic world on services and actually performing the inspections, but over time you started focusing on actually the hardware and the software both to create.
No,
Go ahead.
actually, the company actually was about the technology all the way from the start. But once we got out in the market, got known, people thought, oh, here's a company doing drone inspection because the name was Scout Drone Inspection.
So
that is the story. Yeah, it is.
So it actually caused confusion.
First and foremost.
All right, very good. So, as you were, Howard, I'm gonna go to you because as the company was evolving over time. By the way, what year was the company actually formed?
2018.
Okay, so all right, 2018. And what were the initial target markets that you guys were looking at in terms of, the hardware, the software, and those inspection services people could use it for?
Yeah, so I think it started basically, so the problem that they wanted to solve was kind of manned confined space inspections. And those basically comes with, I would say, three main problems. So first, it's unsafe. So basically a lot of people falling, toxic exposure. And if you look at statistics, I think it's in the US alone, it's around 2,500 plus lives lost since 2000 in those kind of environments. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is basically really expensive. Downtime, scaffolding, planning, really expensive to do. And the third, basically, I would say poor data quality. So going in there with a person trying to inspect something. I mean, one of the ways of doing it is rope access, as we say. And so they basically lower themselves into the tank with a rope and then try to go around to get the overview. So data-wise, that means only like spot checking, or you're not able to kind of cover the whole asset. So that's the third. So that was what we wanted to solve as a company.
Okay, so when you say tanks, and obviously I've met you both at the Energy Drone and Robotics Coalition Summit over the last couple of years. We're talking more like the energy sector kind of problems that you were trying to solve in particular.
So good that you're asking. So typically oil and gas, onshore, offshore tanks, but also as we developed the technology, we saw a lot of other applications. So within power generation, mining, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of applicable applications for the technology. But mainly the focus from the beginning was mainly oil and gas.
Okay, got it. Now we have a picture. I think it might be your next gen drone, but tell me about the drone. I think it's this. Tell me about the name of this drone first of all, and what was the original drone? And we're looking at the next gen version. Tell me a little bit about that evolution.
So Eivind, maybe you want to take this question. I think you have some more knowledge on this than me, especially the name.
Okay, so well, the name of the drone has been Scout 137 since its first instance, and since we have kind of been developing the same kind of concept, we stuck to the same name. It sounds oddly specific though. It's the Scout 137, so you might expect it next one to be a 138 and so on.
Yeah.
But it has been refinements of the same concept, and that has been steered by our choice of new materials, new components, availability of new technology. For example, in the Gen 3 now, we have the 128 beam LiDAR from Ouster as a standard component, while as for the Gen 2, that was a smaller one with 64 beams, well, not smaller, but fewer beams at least. So we have kind of refined the concepts from to exactly where we wanted it to be, because there's no doubt that you launch the first product it's not that it hasn't been tested and all that, but you sell it into the market, and the market gives you feedback, and you see, yeah, there's some things we can do better, and oh, here's a new LiDAR sensor available, and so on. So we kind of kept refining on the same concept of an inspection drone, a tethered inspection drone, based on LiDAR for navigation. And that's where we are now. The Gen 3, as you see it, is it has better hardware in almost all aspects. As I said, denser LiDAR. And it has a faster computer. It has mostly the same materials as before, but it's built differently to get better LiDAR angles, so you can faster get better coverage. It does slam on the edge of all the LiDAR data and other sensor data as well. So it's just an evolution of the same concept.
Well, it's
Did I answer
pretty
your question?
incredible that we're talking about a less than 10-year span, and you're already on generation 3 of this drone, based on customer feedback. And so, going back to Howard's comments earlier, those environments that you're talking about are really difficult, not just for humans, but for robots too. And so tell me a little bit about the ruggedness, how you built in resiliency to this drone. And by the way, I'm assuming it operates in GPS denied environments, because inside of a tank, in a tunnel, in mines, all of these places, there's no GPS for navigation, command and control, and things like that. So can you elaborate on all of these different facets and improvements that you made in the Scout 137 Gen 3?
Yeah. So the Scout 137, it doesn't have a GPS sensor yet. Hasn't so far. Whether it will have at some point remains to see. People, as long as you keep evolving a product, people want it to do more and more. And that's the case with UT, for example. We had a good visual drone, and then people said yes, 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 but we need to bring in climbers anyway to do the UT part of the inspection job.
And what is UT, just to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about?
Sorry, that's ultrasonic thickness measurement, which is where you use the drone to carry what used to be a handheld gauge that you have to put onto the wall with some couplant gel on it in order to measure the thickness of the steel plates in a tank or a pipeline or the hull of a ship. Yeah.
Okay. So customers were asking for a UT sensor, the ability to do all these things.
Yes, people. I kind of lost my thread, but I was talking about.
That's my fault. I had to interrupt you because if we go down the thread of UT and no one knows what it is, I wanted to make sure people knew. But you were saying, we were talking about the ruggedness, the ability for it to operate, kind of in these areas where there is no GPS.
Of course. So like I was going to say about GPS is, and the people learned to use the system in one way, they want to use it in more ways, and then we have to add functionality, and that is also one driver for the evolution of the system, right? And so I was going to say, who knows, in the future there might be a Scout system with a GPS so that you can use it anywhere, and then I used the UT probe, the ultrasonic thickness probe, as an example of that. And ScoutDI, I think, is well known, at least amongst our customers, obviously, to listen a lot to people in the field, go on field missions and take part in research projects and so on, to find out what it is. Not just what is the next step, how can we keep following the cutting edge and lead that, but how can we give the guys what they need? What is it? What's the real thing? How much does it need to be able to take in terms of dust and water and the whole IP ingress protection thing, but also all the other tools and workflow aspects that is needed. So how we do it is a lot of field testing, staying close to lots of customers and champions, people that like the company and like our system, and have them try it and have them use it, and have them destroy it if needed, so they can tell us what happened and what is needed to take the system even further.
Well, what's really unique, I think, about this too is the fact that it is tethered. For indoor, so, when I think about tethered drones, I think about the ones that are flying way high up in the air, for example, stationary security purposes, perimeter security, and things like this. When I listen to you, Eivind and Howard, and I hear about this tethered drone in these spaces, it's almost like, when you walk around the EDR floor, you're seeing these ROVs, remotely operated vehicles, that have a tether, right, for underwater purposes. Some the ground robots also have tethers to them. Um, I assume this is part of your model in terms of like the navigation and how you can use it indoors right now and why you went in that direction. I don't know, Howard, if you want to comment on that. And also, just from a commercial perspective for your clients, all of these upgrades to Gen 3, like, why are they so important to your customers?
Yeah, so that was several questions, so I'll try to answer.
But I violated the major rule of being an attorney: never ask a compound question. And so I apologize for that. I'm very excited about this drone. It's really interesting.
It's good. I'll try to answer it. So just to pick up on your previous question first. So I think the iterations, of course, based on customer feedback, but the improvements and how we actually make these drones fly safely in those environments, that's kind of key. So I would say increased stability, better flight, so power weight ratio, and a lot of software, basically making the drones simple to fly. I think that are kind of the iterations that are among the most important. So more user friendliness, more secure inspections. And then your other part of the question, I think, tethered drone, yes, because we feel it's the right way to do it. Because in a tank, as an example, you would like to take your time to do a thorough inspection, and then basically not having to stress unlimited flight time, which that tether basically gives, and also having the communication over the same cable rather than relying on radios or radio communication. I think that's kind of key. So it's kind of unique selling points for our system. And over the years and over the generations, just improving that. But also adding, I would say, on the UT side, which Eivind mentioned, and now in the latest version, we also added a cleaning tool there based on customer feedback. So they said, it's good that you have a UT probe on the drone, but we still need to clean the surface where we want to do the measurements. So why can't you kind of come up with a solution that could do both? And now we have it. So it's coming on our latest generation. So really excited about that. Yeah.
I think it's fair to mention, if I may, Don. Well, first of all, thank you for pointing out all the obvious design features of our system, which we kind of, we tend to almost forget it sometimes, that we might have to, set the scope for all of the audience and so on. But like Håvard said, battery drones are limited in endurance and payload power, and it's the payload point I want to get to now, because now that tethers are becoming popular because they are giving more flight time and all that, but it's also important to know that when you have a fully wired connection, like with our system, which was a fully wired solution from the beginning, you also get the controls wired, so you don't have to stress, with RF multipath distortion and that sort of thing that might keep you from controlling the drone throughout your inspection. But also, when you design the drone system with a tether, you also give it more power overhead to be able to carry more payloads. So we were always able to, carry a little bit more. We can have the camera, we can have the lights, but you can also have a UT probe. Turns out now with the Gen 3, we can also carry a UT probe that can clean the spot before you measure it, all in one go. So that's one of the advantages of having that kind of planned out from the beginning. It allows us put more into the package.
Well, that's why I really wanted to highlight that, because I think that's really unique. I mean, you've been around, you've seen what other people are doing. This is really unique. So let's talk about some of the sensors, right? To your point, the ability to have the tether allows you to have heavier payloads because of the power that comes along with that. Let's talk a little bit about the new survey grade LiDAR that you've added to this Gen 3 Scout 137, because that's super important. Tell us a little bit about that LiDAR.
So the new LiDAR is basically the same unit as the previous one, but it has twice the amount of beams. It's a LiDAR from Ouster called OS0128, I think is the name of it. It basically gives you confident navigation, of course, as it also did before. But what it gives our now faster onboard computer even more fuel to do precision calculations for the SLAM navigation that it does on the edge. So the drone is at all times calculating the map, the volume around it and its own position in that map, which is something called SLAM. I'm sure most of your users, your audience have heard about that. It means simultaneous localization and mapping. It takes some powerful computer to do it, but if you can do it in real time, then you also get a more stable and precise navigation. And at the same time, you're also able to feed back to the pilot a better and more precise image of the volume that is flying in, so that you can use supporting point clouds and graphics on the tablet that we have with our system for the pilot to fly beyond visual line of sight. So you don't have to actually be able to see the drone when you fly it. For example, you're inspecting a cargo tank, you can drop the drone into the tank and let it fly around in there. You will use the camera feed from the drone and the point cloud, which is fueled by these LiDAR data, basically, to show you what the space looks like. We could also see that on the video that you played.
Oh, excellent. You know what? Honestly, you just said something I never really thought about. You're dropping a drone into a tank. It's clearly beyond visual line of sight. I think when people think beyond visual line of sight, they think something really, really far, far away. And honestly, in this case, it's probably like a pilot right outside of the tank that can't see through the tank with the drone in there. So excellent that your LiDAR enables this beyond visual line of sight capability to do these kinds of inspections. And Howard, I want to ask you, Eivind alluded to it, but how do these advanced capabilities in terms of the LiDAR translate into business value then for the operator or the customer, the stakeholder?
Of course, the first thing is enabling safe flights, as we have been saying over and over, but it also using the LiDAR, we build point clouds, which then could be used to develop digital twins, 3D models. You could also use it for measurements, etc. So the data is basically enables a lot of value creation. Without thinking about everything right here now, I think that's kind of the idea. So combining the point cloud data with the visual pictures and video being recorded, and then also with the UT measurements, you basically get a full set of data that shows you and which you could analyze afterwards, and it could bring a lot of value. One example would be how to plan your maintenance on those assets, etc. To basically save money there as well. So.
Excellent. I mean, it's always about the data. I mean, that's why we have drones in the first place, right? To gather the data needed for business decisions and do it in a more safe, reliable way than some of those traditional methods we talked about at the very beginning. You said UTM. I didn't want to interrupt you and derail your comment. And most people think UTM as UAS traffic management, and I know you meant something. So tell us UTM, what you mean in this context.
So ultrasonic measurements, basically.
Okay, ultrasonic measurement payloads. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. So many different plug and play payloads for the Scout 137. I know a zoom camera is another highlight. So Eivind, I'm going to go back to you. Tell us a little bit about this new zoom camera that you have and what inspection opportunities it unlocks.
Yeah, so the zoom camera is built in, so that's a standard. And the gas sensor is also standard, and the 128 beam lidar and so on. It's just a UTM payload that you have to buy separately, basically, because not everybody does UT. But zoom camera is there. It's a 3.5x optical zoom camera, so it means that it's not digital zooming. You're not reducing pixel amounts or anything like that. It allows you to see details from a safe distance, basically, without loosening the efficiency of your inspection. So you can choose to do that if you're doing like a general visual inspection. You can fly a smaller round, not as close to the walls of your asset, for example, and just zoom in order to cover everything. That depends on whether you have enough lights available, of course, because you still need light to make photographs. It could also be the case that you want to cover something visually, but you can't get close enough because of this protruding feature into the space that you're flying. It could be shelving, it could be what you call it, wreckage or debris, if something that has fallen down. And then you can use the zoom camera to be able to cover something well without making the risk of moving too close. So those are the basic reasons for having it. And that is another feature that was kind of sourced from a customer really wanting to see something better, get more, better ground sampling distance, but couldn't get closer because I think they were inspecting the sprinkler system actually, and there were fixed shelvings in the way. And so we realized, this is a good idea. It's useful for many segments. So then we went ahead and researched it and developed one for our Gen 3 drone.
Okay, great. So a lot of these things come already just on the drone in this Gen 3. Things like the zoom camera. You said it's the UTM or the UT probe that is separate, and that is custom designed arm. So let's elaborate on that. And by the way, everyone out there, I know people. This is live, so if you have questions for these gentlemen, because this is a really, really interesting drone with very important use cases, please jump in the chat, or even if you just want to say hi, we always love to hear where people are coming from, and fire your questions away. We're ready to take them. But in the meantime, tell us about the UT probe and this specially designed arm that you created to accommodate it.
Yeah, so I can start off there. So basically, it's we also had the UT add-on on the second generation drone. So but now on the new one, the third generation, it's basically a new arm, and the arm is designed in such a way that you could tilt it like in different angles, various angles, making sure that you are gaining a good connection with the asset that you want to measure. It also comes with this cleaning tool, which we said, which is basically you could think about it as a grinder, and you could change the I would say that into different brushes, metallic brushes, or in different materials based on what you want to do, so you don't necessarily destroy the surface, but only cleans it. And also we do have several types of probes for different use cases. So you could also change those based on what you want to do. And Eivind, maybe you also could add on to this because you have some more insights than me on
and as you do, Eivind, can I ask you one thing also, because maybe it might be obvious to you, but for me it's not. Your stakeholders, your customers clearly ask for some kind of a cleaning mechanism to go along with the UT sensor. Why is that? Like, I assume these tanks are super dirty, and because I've never heard of anybody else with a cleaning mechanism like what you gentlemen added to this Gen 3. So tell me kind of the problem, like what the stakeholders, why they were asking for it, and why this is so important that you've added it.
Yeah, it's exactly as you are kind of alluding to. I mean, the people that bought the visual system before we had a UT probe said, yeah, we like that, but we still have to climb around, as I mentioned earlier. And then we developed the the second generation UTM payload, which was very good thing, well received and all that. But many of our customers are in, dusty, dirty environments, particularly in oil and gas. You might have land-based storage tanks or cargo tanks on FPSOs or tank vessels and so on. That may be dusty, dirty. There could be residue of a product, hydrocarbon products on it, and it won't be possible. It could even be flakes of rust, or the surface can be rough from corrosion. And in many cases, then you simply can't make a measurement. The measurement process relies on having something that's called couplant gel, so that you need a watery interface between the probe and the steel in order to be able to measure. And if it's dust or dirt or something in there, you won't get that nice interface, so the measurement won't work. So the next request was from the field. Well, we need something that cleans as well, and it needs to clean well, because other people have cleaning tools too on drones and so on, but it needs to be able to apply a lot of force to the surface, so that it can actually remove stuff that might have grown stuck to the surface, like hydrocarbon residues or even paint. So it has to be able to brush away stuff. So that's why we provide our motorized brush with you can use different brushes on it. It could be steel, it could be fibers if you just need to take some dust away. But it needs to stick to the wall, which is it uses magnets to do, and then just hold on to the wall and brush it really hard. And the next thing that happens when the spot is clean and bold, then the probe comes in, whoop, like this. There you go. So it does the cleaning and the measurement in one go, and it's based on the need from the field, because it was useless trying to measure basically in some cases. And also the fact that you can do it with the same tool means that you are reducing, you're cutting the inspection time for this type of job in half or more.
Yeah,
I mean, to
your point, I've heard of people that have the drones that have the ability to clean. I've heard of drones that have the ability to do these kind of contact inspections that you're speaking of. I've never until now heard of a company that's figured out how to do both in one go with one mechanism. I think that's super cool. And by the way, so do people out there. We've got people in the audience finally jumping in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Madison Adeline is saying hi, thank you for having me. And she is a college drone student, by the way. So we love having the future workforce. Thanks so much for listening in, Madison. Hope you're learning a lot. And Baba T4 says that they're interested in the tethered system. Here's the question to you, gentlemen. Does it have a vehicle or boat follow mode? I don't know that answer, so I'm throwing it out to you. Does it?
A follow mode for following following what? Other
a vehicle
vehicles?
Or a boat? Like, so your drone is tethered. You're generally using it, or customers are using it for inspections, like in kind of confined places, as we spoke of. There are some, let's just say, can you use it as like a trail vehicle, or something that could follow something else, whether it's an ROV, like we talked about, tethered ROV, or something else?
That is something, right, Håvard? We have been discussing this kind of thing. If you
there you go. Ideas are being sparked.
Other vessels. Yeah, and I mean, we have gotten to some point when it comes to not following other vehicles or vessels, but compensating for wave motion inside a vessel, for example. That's another interesting aspect, because you can be flying inside a vessel and then it will just slam you in the face because of the waves and so on, right? But so you need to have a drone that can compensate for that sort of thing. But I don't know, Håvard, what should we?
I think, typically, so if I think about, I would say more commercial regular drones, the ones that you use for recreation or in private setting. Then they have this functionality that you could just tag something and it will follow, right?
Right.
But on our case, our drone system is limited by the tether, which basically gives a maximum of 60 meters with a generation 3. But as Eivind is pointing out, we are looking into, and we are putting functionality into our software. So when you have, let's say, on a moving ship in transit, you could do the inspection and the drone would calculate on the go if the ship is moving, and it would actually move according to that, so it doesn't crash into the wall. So wave motion, motion in general, we are able to compensate for that on the go. So it's kind of a tracking system, but I think it's in a different way than what is being asked here. So yeah,
I totally get it. And I would think most of those ship inspections you're talking about, I remember I feel like it was Drone Up a really, really, really long time ago, and they were talking about these ship inspections that some of their pilots were doing inside of ships, and there's water in there, even at port, depending on what the weather conditions are, the environment, even if it's anchored, you could still get movement there, of course. And even if it's not crazy weather, you're still going to be very small and perceptible movements to the eye that might be relevant to these measurements you're talking about for the data. So really awesome that you're already looking toward. They're already working on Gen 4. What the heck, guys? I love it. So never a dull moment at ScoutDI, that's for sure. So we've been talking a lot about these tanks and the measurements and all the different features of the 137 Gen 3. You guys also have this gas sensor, and I think this is really important to talk about because besides, doing those kind of UT inspections, for measuring thickness of things, measuring gases, right? I mean, when you think about the oil and gas industry in particular, not just in the United States, but globally, so many different compliance requirements in terms of methane and other emissions. So tell us a little bit about your gas sensor feature.
So thanks for bringing that up. We tend to forget that, Don, and the reason for that is because it comes as standard on our drone system. Yeah, basically we have a payload which is now standard on the Gen 3 that could read, I think it's up to 15 different hydrocarbon gases. And basically it's there since we're flying in toxic environments to give you kind of a warning if it detects gases. So our drone system is not so ATEX approved, and we don't, at least not to my knowledge, I don't know about any flying drones which are yet. So this is kind of a safety feature, giving an early warning if there should be explosion or dangerous gases in the asset that you are inspecting. So yeah, that's kind of the idea with it. Yeah.
And so standard, that's amazing. Yeah. So I knew we would get short on time because there's so many different interesting features and aspects about what you're doing at ScoutDI. But I want to make sure we talk about the data, right? Because all of these features, they all have one purpose. It's to give the best data possible. And data integration is central to the value that you guys bring to the table. So not only did you create this amazing hardware, you also created this thing called the Scout Portal. Tell us how the Scout, what it is, and how it ties everything together.
So the one-liner that you're of what you're kind of talking about is, to go from raw flight data to actionable insights all in one platform, and that's what we've been setting out to do from the beginning. There, you don't need any third-party tools to get what you need from the ScoutDI system. The drone lets you get all the data, right? And then you can live stream it to the Scout Portal, or you can upload it to the Scout Portal via your laptop, for example. And then the Scout Portal and manages, or that's where you manage all your data. You visualize it, and look at all the data points. So you have everything in one package, so to speak. When you fly, capture data with a drone, that could be like 4K video and photos. It's the 3D LiDAR data. It's the UT measurements, right? All the things like that. There's lots of different data which kind of belong to different domains, but they all contribute to the same picture, the holistic image of your, the condition of your asset, what you want to know. So if you gave it like an Excel spreadsheet with all the UT measurements and then a folder with 200 photos, here it's very hard for you to make up an opinion on what's going on, on the condition or the health of your asset. So what you get in the Scout portal is a platform that shows you all this stuff at the same time and in context. So what you see is visualized like as a point cloud, the asset that you flew in, like a storehouse or a cargo tank or a silo or whatnot, a tunnel. And then you can see the trajectory that the drone was flying during inspection. You see there are markers for all the photos, of course, and a full video timeline, obviously. So there are many ways you can go from to look at all the data. You can look at everything from A to B, A to Z, I mean. And then you can also just zoom in. Oh, that's the corner that I want to look at stuff. And then you click there and look at some photos and the UT. So it kind of brings all these data from different domains, but the same asset into for you to immediately access and put together inside your mind, and immediately you get an understanding of where things are and what's going on. And yeah, I mean, you have like UT to kind of support visual photos. For example, you can see, oh, there's something going on over there, there's corrosion. And then you can look at the UT measurements and see, wow, it's down 5 millimeters since X years ago, and that sort of thing. So it's a really comprehensive tool for you to understand what's going on, collecting all the data and understanding it, and having more people contribute in getting insights from what you have measured.
Yeah, that's great. And honestly, I've been really referring quite a bit to this 137 Next Gen 3 drone, but really it's an entire system. I mean, I also think that makes it unique because a lot of these other players they're having to leverage third party for the data analytics and things like this. The fact that you have it all one-stop shop, and we didn't even talk about your ground control station. Like you have that too, obviously. So that I know you've ruggedized as well. We got like 2 minutes left, and I know that's crazy because time has completely flown by. No pun intended. So I would love to give each of you an opportunity to maybe fill any gaps that I missed, give any closing remarks, and then we'll just close it out at the very end with how people can learn more and how they can reach you. So, Howard, I'm going to go with you first for your closing remarks.
No, I think, thank you. I think we've been through the most important, but one thing we forgot to mention, which I think is really our value creator, is since we have the tethered drone and the communication over that line, we also enable a high bandwidth. So basically what we can do is live sessions. So if you have an inspector, you could actually live stream what you're doing, the inspection, directly to his desk. So he doesn't have the need to travel out to the assets. So if that's an oil rig or a ship, as long as you have a satellite link, you could basically sit in your office and watch the inspection live. So that's kind of unique, and we tend to forget to talk about that, but that's really a value creator.
No, I think
there are
that's
many aspects here. Sorry, Don.
Please.
We like to talk about this. You can tell. We could probably do another hour.
As you should.
But, yeah, but there are so many things technology provide on several in several different dimensions now. I mean, once you have connectivity offshore, for example, then guys like us can start offer live inspection, where you can fly a drone on a ship out in the middle of the ocean, and somebody in a different country, on shore somewhere, can look at this inspection. And I think drone inspection is becoming commonplace. Everybody knows about it and know who the main players are and so on. but there are also luckily, you know, so much other technology that is coming together now that makes us, you know, that allows us to provide this holistic type of system, as to say, or a solution, because that's just what it is. You know, you can, but it takes all these pieces to fit together.
And
there's so many things you could mention when it comes to live streaming and so on, you know, but has to be next time, I guess.
Well, hopefully there will be a next time, and we'll bring you guys back next year. It sounds like you're already working on Gen 4. I'm of course always looking forward to seeing you again in Houston in next June as well. You know, and maybe even some other places. I'm hoping to get to Europe for a couple different shows next year, so we can talk offline. But in the meantime, how do people learn more about ScoutDI, and how can they reach you?
Håvard?
So yeah, you leave that to me, that's fine. So please visit our website. You can find a lot of information there, but also reach out by you can contact us also through the website, and we will happily answer any questions that you might have, or if you have any ideas, we also welcome that. So please just reach out.
All right.
Well, we have
very good.
channels everywhere, you know, Don, and I mean, it's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, it's email, and the website, and of course, just like with the drone system, everything is just plugged in together, so it all ends in comes into the same inflow, you might call it. So
well, that's very good. So everybody out there, now you know about ScoutDI. If you didn't before, you know about this incredible solution they put together. If you want to learn more, follow them on social media, check out their website. Really appreciate everybody out there making those comments and taking the time to watch today. That's all she wrote for today. We are out here.